Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Bhalava Girivara Dhari Gopi Jana Bhalava Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnu Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotarashata Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotarashata Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Garantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shishi Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So on this very extraordinary day, we have a verse that is a continuation of the chapter entitled The Demigods and Demons Declare a Truce, and it's Canto 8, Chapter 6 and Text 12. It's got a very long purport. But at any rate, we'll chant the verse responsively. Yatagni medasi amritam chagen goshu. Uviyanam ambudyamane chavritim. Yogair manusya adiyanti tvam. Guneshu Pujya Kavayu Vadanti. Yatagni Medasi Amritam Chagoshu. Bhuviyanam Ambujyamane Chavritim. Yogair manusya adiyanti hitvam. Guneshu Pujya Kavaya Vadanti. Yatagni Medasi Amritam Chagoshu. Bhavi Anam Ambujyamane Chavritim. Yogair manusya adiyanti hitvam. Guneshu Pujya Kavayo Vadanti. Please chant. Yatagni medasi amritam chagoshu. Bhuviyanam amritamane chavritim. Yogai manusya yantitam. Guneshu Pujya Kavayo Vadanti. Yatagni medyasya amritam chagoshu. Bhuviyanam amritamane chavritim. Gai manesha adiyanti tvam. Ganesha Puja Kavayo Vadanti. Yatagni Medasi Amritam Chagoshu. Uvyanam Amudamane Chabritim. Yogairanam Samyantam. Ganesha Puja Kavayo Vadanti. So we'll proceed with the word by word. Yata, as, Agnim, fire. Edhasi, in wood. Amritam, milk, which is like nectar. Cha, and Goshu, from cows. Uvi, on the ground. Anam, food grains. Ambu, water. Ujamane, in enterprise. Cha, also. Vritim, livelihood. Yogai, by practice of bhakti yoga. Manusya, human beings. Adiyanti, achieve. He, indeed. Tvam, you. Guneshu, in the material modes of nature. Buddhya, by intelligence. Kavaya, great personalities. Vadanti, say. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. As one can derive fire from wood, milk from the milk bag of the cow, food grains and water from the land, and prosperity in one's livelihood from industrial enterprise, so by the practice of bhakti yoga, even within this material world, one can achieve your favor or intelligently approach you. Those who are pious all affirm this. So the purport. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is nirguna, not to be found within this material world, the entire material world is pervaded by him, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Maya tatam idam sarvani. The material world is nothing but an expansion of the Lord's material energy. And the entire cosmic manifestation rests upon him. Sarva Bhutani. Nonetheless, the Supreme Lord cannot be found here. Sorry, the Sanskrit's a bit small for me. Na chakam teshu anastitaha. A devotee, however, can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the practice of bhakti yoga. One ordinarily does not begin to practice bhakti yoga unless he has practiced it in previous births. Moreover, one can begin bhakti yoga only by the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasad Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. The seed of devotional service is obtainable by the mercy of Guru, the spiritual master, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only by the practice of bhakti yoga can one achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and see him face to face. Premanjana, Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, Shanta Sadeva, Hridayeshu, Vilokayanti. One cannot see the Lord by other methods, such as karma, jnana, or yoga. Under the direction of the spiritual master, one must cultivate bhakti yoga, shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu smaranam, padasevanam. Then, even within this material world, although the Lord is not visible, a devotee can see him. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Bhaktyamam abhijanati. Yavam yash, chasmi tatavataha. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhaktyaham, I have to pause because the light's not very good, and when the writing's very small, it's not so good for me. Grayaha. Thus, by devotional service, one can achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although he is not visible or understandable to materialistic persons. In this verse, the cultivation of Bhakti Yoga is compared to many material activities. By friction, one can get fire from wood. By digging the earth, one can get food grains and water. And by agitating the milk bag of the cow, one can get nectarian milk. Milk is compared to nectar, which one can drink to become immortal. Of course, simply drinking milk will not make one immortal, but it can increase the duration of one's life. In modern civilization, men do not think milk to be important, and therefore they do not live very long. Although in this age, men can live up to 100 years, their duration of life is reduced because they do not drink large quantities of milk. This is a sign of Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, instead of drinking milk, people prefer to slaughter an animal and eat its flesh. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his instructions of Bhagavad Gita, advises Goraksha, which means cow protection. The cow should be protected. Milk should be drawn from the cows, and this milk should be prepared in various ways. One should take ample milk, and thus one can prolong one's life, develop his brain, execute devotional service, and ultimately attain the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is essential to get food grains and water by digging the earth, it is also essential to give protection to the cows and take nectarian milk from their milk bags. The people of this age are inclined towards industrial enterprises for comfortable living, but they refuse to endeavor to execute devotional service by which they can achieve the ultimate goal of life by returning home back to Godhead. Unfortunately, as it is said, Nate vudu svarta gatim hi vishnum durachaya ya bahir artha manimaha. People without spiritual education do not know that the ultimate goal of life is to go back home, back to Godhead. Forgetting this aim of life, they are working very hard in disappointment and frustration. Magasa maga karmano, magha jnana vichetasaha. The so-called Vaishyas, the industrialists or businessmen, are involved in big industrial enterprises but they are not interested in food grains and milk. However, as indicated here, by digging for water, even in the desert, we can produce food grains. When we produce food grains and vegetables, we can give protection to the cows. While giving protection to the cows, we can draw from them abundant quantities of milk. And by getting enough milk and combining it with food grains and vegetables, we can prepare hundreds of nectarian foods. We can happily eat this food and thus avoid industrial enterprises and joblessness. Agriculture and cow protection are the way to become sinless and thus be attracted to devotional service. Those who are sinful cannot be attracted by devotional service. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.28, Yesham, I'm going to struggle. Thank you. Thank you. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful activities are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. The majority of people in this age of Kali are sinful, short-living, unfortunate, and disturbed. Manda Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagya Hi Upadrataha. For them, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised, Hare Nama Kevalam, Kalo Naste Eva Gatir Anyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Ramapada Swami Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it's a little daunting being seated on the Vyasasana on this very auspicious occasion. The particular instruction that appears here of Lord Chaitanya for this particular age is extremely powerful, and I thought it was very interesting. Immediately my mind went to Lord Chaitanya himself exemplifying this very instruction. So in the Madhya Lila, in the first chapter, in text 270, there's a description of Lord Chaitanya, and he's following the same advice that he's giving, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Naste Eva Gatir Anyata. So one day all the devotees, headed by Srivas Thakur, they were chanting the transcendental qualities of Lord Chaitanya. So, not liking the chanting of his transcendental qualities, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised them as if he were angry. So he said, what kind of chanting is this? Are you leaving aside the chanting of the holy name of the Lord? So this was his concern. So the intelligent means that the demigods are referring to here, to approach Krishna in this material world, is via his holy name. And also, this is part of the practice of Bhakti Yoga, as Lord Brahma is saying here in his address to the Supreme Lord. So that definition of Bhakti Yoga is very simple. It's given as being the engagement of the senses in the devotional service of the Lord. And that definition is given in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 18th chapter and the 26th verse. So the other ways which Lord Chaitanya dismisses, other ways to approach Krishna, Srila Prabhupada discusses it in that same purport of this verse where the definition of devotional service is given. And so Srila Prabhupada, he points out that the yogic practice, it's a manipulation of the physiological and the psychological functions of the body. And the jnana process, it's actually theoretical knowledge of transcendence, but it's theoretical. And so what it means is that the jnana process is just a kind of speculative process about the reality of the soul. So it's remaining outside and speculating about its possible existence. But it's Bhakti Yoga which factually takes the spirit soul and draws it into activities. So very powerful. And here Lord Brahma, he's using various similes to show how the senses are drawn into activities of devotion to the Supreme. So the senses that are used for acquiring knowledge, they're the auditory sense, the sense of taste, the tactile sense, the sense of sight, and the sense of smell. So that engagement of the senses, such that one can come to even see Krishna by revelation, so it's an internal seeing, is stated by Krishna himself. This is how he puts it. My dear Arjuna, only by such undivided devotional service can it be understood can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and you can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So that's the from Bhagavad Gita, the 11th chapter and the 54th verse. Bhaktya tvam ananyaya sakya aham evam vito Arjuna gyatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. So the similes used by Lord Brahma to show how Bhakti Yoga is the drawing of the senses and activities of devotion for the Supreme, he compares it in this way. He says it's like getting milk from the milk bag of the cow through agitating that milk bag, or like getting grains and water from the tilling of or digging of the earth, or it's like getting friction, or like using friction to get fire from wood. So anyway, I can comment on one little section of this. One particular year in Gita Nagari on a camp for the children, there was a devotee who actually had experience of milking a cow. So he was one of the parents of the children. And he very confidently, had a whole way of, moving the milk bag. And it looked very simple, but anybody who tried after that could not do it. So it's not such a simple matter to agitate the milk bag to extract milk. And so it's interesting that these particular similes are used by Lord Brahma to explain something of how the senses get drawn into activities of devotion for the Supreme. So, one can ask, what is that movement that is happening? Or what is that that's been uncovered? Or what is being set into motion when the senses are drawn into activities related to the Supreme Lord? So, one could say that what is being set into motion is the development of some affection for the Lord. So the feelings are what is getting, the feelings are those things that are getting moved. And in the same way, on the part of the Lord, there's also some movement that's happening. He's developing a sense of reciprocal obligation because of that loving affection. So finally, just through the development of that affection and the reciprocal obligation coming from the Lord towards the person carrying that affection, there's being able to see the Lord face to face. As Srila Prabhupada states here in the purport, it's because one's eyes, that development of affection is affecting the way in which one comes to see the Lord. So the eyes are getting tinged with the pulp of love. And in Brahma Samhita, this is stated as Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, Shanta Sadeva Hridayeshai Vilokoyanti, Yam Syama Sundaram, Achintya Guna Svarupam, Govindam Aripusham, Tamaham Bhajami. So this is how the translation is, which clarifies something of the eyes getting tinged with the salve of love for the Supreme Lord. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shama Sundar, situated within the heart of the devotee. So he comes to be seen internally within the heart. And this brings us, of course, to this particular day where there's the appearance of Lord Krishna. So looking at how he appeared is an interesting thing, because it's very much connected, I thought, to this particular verse. And I'm going to read just a sentence of how Krishna appeared. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki. In the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon. And it continues that there's a reason why he appeared from the heart of Devaki, because Devaki was of the same category as Krishna. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto, in the 3rd chapter and the 8th verse. So it means that Devaki actually had the same spiritual form as Lord Krishna. And she had the same spiritual potency. And indeed, one can take it that Lord Krishna's father, his cowherd friends, and the cows too, which is interesting to note, they're all actually expansions of Krishna. So that's why it can be said that they have the same spiritual form and the same spiritual potency or spiritual strength as Krishna. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, situated within the core of everyone's heart, as Antaryami, the super soul, he was present in his full spiritual strength in Devaki's heart. And so he was able to appear also outside her body. So this is something of the extraordinary nature of Krishna's appearance. So that eternal form of Shamasundar that's situated within the core of the devotee's heart appeared as the newborn child of Vasudeva. And here's a description. He had wonderful lotus-like eyes and bore in his 4 hands the 4 weapons, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. On his chest was the mark of Srivatsa, and on his neck was the brilliant Kaustuba gem. Dressed in yellow, his body blackish, like a dense cloud. His scattered hair fully grown, and his helmet and earrings sparkling uncommonly with the valuable gem. Vaidurya, the child, decorated with a brilliant belt, armlets, bangles, and other ornaments, appeared very wonderful. So this is the description of Lord Krishna appearing. So present fully in his full spiritual strength in Devaki's heart, he also manifested externally, exactly in this description, fully decorated and with his jewelry. So this is that seeing face to face that is mentioned. And it's very similar to the description some verses back when the demigods and Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva came to the Milk Ocean when Krishna manifested himself. And the similarity is, I'm going to read that description of what they saw. A blackish body like a dense cloud is the part that is very prominent similarity in the description, because they saw a blackish body resembling a Marakata gem, whose eyes are reddish like the depths of a lotus, and who's dressed with garments that are yellow like molten gold, and whose body is attractively decorated. So this was in the 7th verse in the same chapter. So very consistent, the description of Krishna, both within the heart and appearing externally. So now there's a part that I'm going to connect here with when Vasudeva sees his beautiful child. And the connection is with the earlier part of, the senses being drawn into activities related to the Supreme Lord. So this is something of Vasudeva's functioning and how he performed some service to the Supreme Lord. So Vasudeva's response in seeing his extraordinary child is very much connected with Srila Prabhupada's expansion on the use of the similes of the demigods. Because, here's the description, this is Vasudeva's response. In transcendental jubilation, he mentally collected 10,000 cows and distributed them among the brahmanas as a transcendental festival. So this was his way of engaging his senses. He used his internal sense, the mind, and he collected 10,000 cows and then distributed them mentally to all the brahmanas. So a whole festival within the mind. So using the senses, or the king of the senses, and engaging his mind in service to the Supreme Lord. So that's found also in the 10th canto in the 3rd chapter, 11th verse. So the stress on cows is given by Srila Prabhupada. That by digging, one can produce food grains. By producing food grains and vegetables, one can give protection to the cows, because naturally you're giving the grains to the cows. And it means you're also not needing to see them as a source of foodstuff. And while giving such protection, one can draw from them abundant milk. And in this way, prepare hundreds of nectarian foods. This is Srila Prabhupada talking. And in this way, industrial enterprises are avoided. And Srila Prabhupada, he comments that even if one cannot serve the Lord externally, one can serve the Lord within one's mind. So, because the activities of the mind are as good as those of the other senses. So, I mean, one can find oneself so frequently performing some sort of service to the Lord mentally, just by thinking of the Lord and thinking of particular things that one could be doing, say, like even in planning something. It's a form of service. So finally, there's two ways that can assist one to engage in devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So one is very much highlighted in this purport. It's the performance of agriculture and cow protection. Because this allows one to become attracted to devotional service. I mean, one just has to pay a visit to one of the ISKCON farm communities and look at the beautiful cows, and immediately one gets drawn to the deities automatically. So, and secondly, another way that can assist one to perform devotional service is to be convinced of the mystic power and the potencies of Lord Krishna and his opulences. And this is stated by Lord Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter, in the 7th verse. He says exactly the same thing, that when one's convinced of his mystic power and opulence, then one takes to devotional service. So something of hearing of these beautiful descriptions assists in allowing one to be attracted to devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada, he puts it this way, that knowing the details of how great God is, that naturally allows one as a soul to become engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. So I've just highlighted one small detail, and this is something that emerged from this verse. So I'll end here. If there's any thought to expand this particular discussion.
A question relating to the point you made about Devaki being equal with Krishna. I'm wondering, does that mean she's Vishnu Tattva, or is that like she's equal in quality? Is she a Jiva, or is she not Jiva?
Is she what?
Jiva Tattva or Vishnu Tattva?
She's considered to be an expansion of Lord Krishna. And in fact, all the personalities that take part in Krishna's pastimes are expansions of him. And I found it interesting that the cows are too. So she's certainly not Jiva. No, because her body is Satchidananda, fully blissful, fully cognizant, yeah. So, and the same thing applies even to the animals that are serving Krishna, which is rather extraordinary. And she's understood to have the same spiritual strength, so spiritual potency, spiritual strength as Krishna. So that makes sense because the interaction, a personality has to be on the same, of the same caliber to be able to interact in the proper way.
Many of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, some of them are Shakti Tattvas, some of them are Jiva Tattvas, and obviously some of them are Vishnu Tattvas. Vishnu Tattvas is Balaram. Shakti Tattvas are like Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, some of the cowherd boys, Shrimati Radharani, some of the gopis. And then there's Jiva Tattvas that are unlimited, that have different relationship with Krishna as gopas or cows or birds, trees. So they're there. In terms of Devaki, is Shakti Tattva.
Spiritual strength.
It's the energy. So the expansion, the Jivas are also expansion of Krishna. Is part of his energy. Is the Tatastha Shakti, the marginal energy of the Lord. And so they actually all can be considered expansions of the Lord, but they're not. It's not Vishnu Tattvas necessarily the only expansions of the Lord. There's also Shakti Tattvas and Jiva Tattvas, like that. That's something.
So she's an expansion of his spiritual strength. Well, there's nothing else. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Jordan had something? Oh, sorry. Okay.
I was wondering, in Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, the jivas, like the devotees, they have relationships with each other as well. Like, I'm wondering how it's not separate from Krishna, but they also have relationships and loving exchanges amongst each other. I'm wondering if you could explain a little bit about that, how that works. Like, if everything's just specifically centered around Krishna, or they also have exchanges where Krishna is not there?
Oh, that's a very nice question. Well, the understanding would be that all of them are in a state of pure love for Krishna by virtue of the fact that they're very intimate associates of Krishna. So they're actually able to see him. And see him as he is. And so in terms of the dealings or the loving relationships between the devotees of Lord Krishna who are carrying Krishna in their heart, are able to see him externally correctly. Any interaction is with Krishna in the center, even if Krishna is not externally present, by virtue of the fact that they're fully conscious of him. So every act has Krishna as the center of that act. So there's at no time is Krishna forgotten. And that seems a very difficult thing to comprehend as a human who's able at times to get glimpses and at other times is covered. So it's a constant focus and full attention on Krishna in every dealing. That would be my understanding. Thank you. Hare Krishna.